And we're starting to see it get going here as of, kind of mid-morning here, right?
That's right. And what people need to know right from the start is this is a multi-day event. Today it kind of gets started. It'll be ramping up later today, especially tomorrow and tomorrow night. That's going to be the brunt, and it's going to last into Sunday morning. So today it's just kind of the preliminary scenario where everything starts
absolutely.
to come
And so,
together.
of course, we're seeing the cold come in. If you've been outside here, it's funny, Allie and I were joking on Second Cup this morning. When I came to work this morning, about 3:30, 4 o'clock, it was 35 outside, and that's the peak of the day. That's the thing we want to really reiterate to folks, is it's not warming up as we go throughout the day. And we'll circle back to the cold here in a little bit, but I really think the thing that a lot of people, of course, are wanting to know about today is, of course, the moisture. This is our live shot from Friona out there here as of right now. We saw some ice on it earlier. We're seeing some little, wet raindrops. That's down, of course, to our southwest. But now if we go north, places like Guyman, we're seeing, snow come in sideways. Text line was seeing some pretty hefty snow as well. And we're seeing just kind of a mix of precipitation around a lot of the area. At our News Channel 10 studios just earlier this morning, I did feel a few little light kind of, bits of drizzle here and there. But I think right now, Amarillo, we haven't seen anything too crazy. But I did get some reports on Facebook, Dave, that we are seeing a little bit of drizzle just kind of scattered around the city. So I do know with temperatures as cold as they are, when that drizzle hits surfaces, it's going to be sticking and freezing and becoming pretty slick pretty quickly, right?
Yeah, and the most vulnerable travel issues when it's that kind of situation will be the bridges and overpasses, because the cold air surrounds those. They're not warmed from underneath. So if we're going to get any kind of glazing on roads today, I think it's going to be bridges and overpasses. Everything else is going to be kind of elevated objects, I think. You might have to scrape your windshield and stuff, but for the most part, the light stuff that we have around the area today, not really hampering travel.
And that's the good news with that. So looking at the kind of bigger picture here, we have our regional satellite and radar. Like I said, we're seeing this system really come through pretty heavily right now in the form of a lot of rain down around central Texas, but we are starting to see kind of some of that snow build up just to our west. And so we're really starting to see that moisture get here. But of course, that rain off towards the south, not really becoming too icy just yet, because obviously that cold front hasn't quite made it down that direction. But you'll see down around, eastern New Mexico. And even there's a lot of parts of the area where you're probably seeing drizzle, and the radar doesn't really look like there's that much going on, because that moisture, is forming up and falling in very, very low levels where the radar probably isn't even seeing it right now.
That's right. Those radar beams are going to shoot over a lot of that low-level moisture and condensation, so it won't really show up here. But when we start to get bigger snowflakes and everything falling, we'll start to pick that up better.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you're starting to see that kind of pull into there to the southwest corner of the region. So down around eastern New Mexico, probably going to be some of the first places that see some of that heavier precipitation. And so you've been, if you've been watching News Channel 10, you've been seeing social media, you've been seeing a lot of maps that look like this, of course, talking about our watches and warnings that are in effect around the region. So all the pink is a winter storm warning, but the thing is that you don't necessarily see there on the surface is that there's, several different areas, of course, different offices to handle different regions. So we have kind of split up here. Our Amarillo area, the National Weather Service office here in town, is issuing our winter storm warning for about 6 to 12 inches of snow. That's the official phrasing from the National Weather Service. 2 to 7 off in eastern New Mexico, 2 to 4 there up in the northwest with that winter weather advisory. And then down towards Lubbock, they're looking at lower totals, 4 to 6 inches, but then about a quarter of an inch, upwards rather, of a quarter of an inch of ice. And Dave, talk a little bit about that ice threat, because that's one thing where, of course, we're thinking about folks to the south. I'm really glad we don't have numbers like that here in Amarillo.
No, and that's kind of the blessing for us out of all of this is we're going to have the limited ice potential, and that's going to be the worst. Ice is going to be the worst on roads. It's going to be the worst on power lines. It's going to be the worst on trees that can fall, and the most dangerous. Now, Lubbock saying up to a quarter of an inch, that's a lot of ice. It takes, 0.02 or 3, you can get slippery. You get to a 1/10 of an inch, that's a good glaze of ice. You get up to a quarter of an inch, that's heavy. That's when we get a lot of tree limbs down and, roads are just shut down and impassable. So really, I think we're going to miss out on most of that. We'll watch that southeast corner. If we can make it through, I think, the afternoon, we should be okay, because then we're going to have the air deep enough that it's not going to be raindrops. It'll be snowflakes all the way down. So I think, that's the good news is, we need to be careful. And if you're traveling 287, that's going to be a main threat. For the most part, though, I think we'll dodge that big
Right,
pool.
yeah, and I think that's really one of the big things. And when it really comes to forecasting, that's what makes systems like this so tricky, is because it's one of those things where it's falling as snow for such a big portion of its trip down through the atmosphere. But if it, melts at any point, it's either going to refreeze on its way back down or it's going to refreeze at the surface. So if we fast forward through our model run right here, we're really kind of starting to get a better feel for how the system's going to behave. I think a lot of them, in my opinion, Dave, as a meteorologist here, you're starting to see that snow kind of take over. I think this one's kind of overdoing that wintry precip a little bit, especially off towards kind of the east and northeast. I really think that's going to be an area that we're switching over to snow already, because that cold air is deep and it's coming in here pretty quick as we go on into the afternoon period.
Yeah, and here in the early hours, from now until like it got there at 5 o'clock, it's kind of a borderline temperature thing throughout the atmosphere. So the model kind of plays off of that. But I think where the cold air is probably going to win over, like you said. And even though you see a lot of pink, it's sporadic and it's light. That's not an ice storm or anything. But I kind of like this timing. We get into the late afternoon, early evening. We'll start to see that snow coming in from the southwest. And then the first round is going to be really late today into tonight. So when you saw those numbers we had up earlier, like 6 to 12, that's not coming all at once. We're going to have multiple rounds that add up to those numbers. So this round overnight tonight, although it could be substantial, it's not the 6 to 12 right off the bat. I think it's more like 1 to 3.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was one of the things I was saying, during our live broadcast yesterday, is one of those deals of if you wake up tomorrow and you don't have a foot of snow on the ground, don't immediately come for our heads, because this is, a multi-round event. So this is showing 3 a.m. Early Saturday morning. And then as we get going into kind of the mid-morning hours of your Saturday, you're going to see right there just maybe a few scattered light snow showers. We're going to stay clouded over. We'll dive into the temperatures here in a little bit. But I mean, just look at this secondary wave that comes through going into Saturday night. I think, like you said, that's when we're going to start to see the snow by the bucket full.
Yeah. Right, and like I said, if you back during the day tomorrow, there may not be a whole lot going on. We'll wake up to a little snow on the ground, and we might have some flurries or passing snow showers. But please don't think that's the event, because really we're just going to wait for the next round that will be more substantial coming in late tomorrow. Like I said, we're going to have multiple periods of snow. This is probably the strongest one tomorrow night into Sunday morning.
Yeah, absolutely. And so the thing with that is, so that heavy wave is going to be, like you said, going from Saturday night to Sunday morning. I mean, there's been lots of discussions. Of course, we've had business closings, school closings, things like that. But then, of course, going into Sunday morning, there's been a lot of talk, of church closings as well. I mean, I think generally this particular model doesn't go quite out far enough, but we should start to see it kind of breaking up by Sunday morning. But the problem is, I think going into Sunday morning is maybe we're not necessarily adding on a bunch of that heavy snow, but a lot of it is going to be fresh fallen. So if we're getting that 6 inches, that's when it's going to be fresh on the ground, and those roads might be pretty treacherous out there.
Right, and it's going to be so cold also. I mean, that's one thing that I know you're about to get to temperatures. At this point, when we get to Saturday night, Sunday morning, we're going to be down close to 0 or 0 to 10. None of the snow or ice that we get is going anywhere throughout this, the duration of the event. So even the 1 to 3 we get tonight, that's going to be around tomorrow. It's not going to melt off, and then we'll pile on top of that. And so, yes, by Sunday morning, you can bet that every bit of snow that has fallen is going to be there, but a big fresh layer that we'll be dealing with.
And so let's talk about that cold air, because we saw that cold front roll through. I mean, we tracked it live on the early show this morning. We were 34 at the end of the early show at 7 a.m. this morning, and it's now currently, my clock says 11:25 here, and we're currently down to 22. But you know what? I always like to keep nice perspective of how it could always be worse. Look at Bismarck, North Dakota there, -16. That's not even with wind chill factored in.
Yeah, and Shelden, I had a friend, one of the meteorologists used to work at NewsChannel 10 years ago. Randy Brock is up at, he's at Rochester. They were expecting an overnight low of -20. That was the air temperature, with a wind chill of -45. So yeah, even though it's bad here, it could be worse.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, so there's some really deep cold air that's permeating through the region, and right now it's kind of blowing in, a little bit breezy out there. We've got some winds kind of blowing in out of the northeast. We've got a good 15 to 25 mile an hour wind. We did see some gusts early this morning as that cold front arrived, upwards of about 30. So that's what's really enabling that really cold wind chill right now. This is what it feels like outside right now. We got about 7 degrees for that feels like temperature out there. You're seeing Guyman is already seeing wind chills of -6. Our least cold wind chill is Portales down off towards the southwest at 25. But the thing I really want to reiterate to people, I mean, we'll dive into some of the long-term wind chills here in a second, Dave. But the good news with this cold front is while yes, it is breezy right now, I think with all this winter storm business that we're seeing, it doesn't look to be a prolonged wind event, and that's really a blessing for us.
Yeah, and really the wind, I think, subsides before most of the snow comes in. So that's going to eliminate a lot of the whiteout, blizzard type conditions. It's going to eliminate a lot of the drifting of snow. So yeah, that's real good. It's bad news on the wind chill. I know you're going into detail there. That's, the wind chill today is going to be our big concern. And throughout this whole event, it's going to be probably one of the most dangerous aspects is just how cold those wind chills are going because of the threat of hypothermia, frostbite. I mean, we get those numbers down like we're going to see. If you're out in the elements, for 15, 30 minutes, people have died, even recently. I mean, we've lost a lot of people in cold weather events, just like we talk about tornadoes and severe weather. This can be just as bad. Yeah, definitely. And so what we have right now, we have a mix, and this is one I like to explain with this one, is that we have these different criteria. So all those dark blue counties there across the south, that's from the National Weather Service office in Lubbock. That is an extreme cold warning. And then all of our light blue counties here in the northern half, that is a cold weather advisory. Now, of course, obviously, Lubbock down that direction, their cold is a little bit different than our cold at times. And so actually both of these, the criteria for both of these events is a wind chill that can get as low as -15. So while, yes, they are technically two different advisories, wind chills are expected to get as low as -15. That's the feels like temperature. But before we get into that perspective there, let's talk about the actual temperatures. So we're seeing those 20s out there as of right now going into the afternoon period. I mean, when kids would be, coming home from school, Dave, we're seeing temperatures falling there down into the mid-teens. And as we go into the overnight period, like I said, seeing that cold really come in, we see 3 overnight tonight. We're going to wake up to 3 degrees for your Saturday, and then maybe only get up to about 10 or so for tomorrow. And like I said, that's not even with the wind chill factored in. If we start to factor in what it'll feel like outside, it only gets worse. Yeah, that's a good point. School time letting out or this evening, it's going to be rough. Got to be layered up for that. You got to be covered head to toe. And one thing that I've been really reiterating and emphasizing is, more often than not, your problem is going to come when you're out in the elements traveling in your car somewhere, even around town. Okay, let's say you run out of gas. Let's say you have a flat tire. Let's say your engine stalls out somewhere. You just can't get out and go, oh, I'll go walking for help. You can't be out in the elements. So you got to make sure you have your phone and maybe a power bank, in case you're running low on battery. Call somebody to come help you and to come rescue you. That's the safe thing. So make sure you got that in your car. You need your provisions, you need blankets, throw some peanut butter in there.
Creamy peanut butter,
some
right?
Water. But make sure you got your cell phone in charge because that's how you're going to get rescued.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, just that going out, because like I said, this is 4 p.m. in the afternoon, and that's a feels like temperature of 0. Even as we go into your Friday evening, by 9 o'clock tonight, I mean, we're looking at a feels like of -3 outside. And then, of course, like you said, that cold weather advisories for those wind chills as low as -15. So, I mean, you see right there, 8 a.m. on your Saturday, we're going to have a wind chill of -14 outside. And you'll see, yeah, right up there, liberal, -15 up that direction. And like I said, our temperature tomorrow will get up to about 10, and that's already just, bone-chilling cold. The most we recover those feel-like temperatures is about -4. So even as we go on into your, right there, Saturday afternoon when temperatures should be at their quote-unquote warmest, we might get those temperatures feeling like they're about -4. That's the closest we'll get to 0 as we go on into, of course, the afternoon period. And so we're really going to be seeing, prolonged cold right there. And, it doesn't look like we're going to be recovering that because, as we'll see, I'll be getting ready for the news at noon here in about 30 minutes. I have our high on Sunday when we start to break up this snow and start to see sunshine come through the clouds. Maybe 19 on Sunday. This is going to be cold for a long time.
Yeah, that's right. So again, it's going to take a long time to thaw roads too. One thing, even when we get the sun out, when we have a blanket of snow and Arctic air to begin with, that sun is just reflecting off the snow. We're not warming up. So we went below freezing, I think this morning, Shelden, about 7:30,
yeah,
somewhere around there. It may be, if we don't do it Monday, it's going to be mid-morning Tuesday before we get temperatures above freezing. So that's really going to slow down the road conditions
And so
improve.
really getting a head start on that snow, I'm going to go and pull this up here real quick, Dave. Let you take a look at text line right now. This is, of course, up in the northwestern Texas Panhandle. This has been a place that we've been really tracking that moisture going for a while, and this is easily our snowiest part of the region. But you'll see, I mean, the snow's coming in horizontally here currently.
Yeah, fortunately it's not really heavy, so I'm seeing pretty good visibility there. But yeah, that's just really a good example, a good visual of the combination of freezing, moisture, wind, and that just kind of looks
It really
Siberian
does. And
there.
so we've got that. Of course, we'll circle back. Let's take a look up in Guyman, up in the northern Texas Panhandle. I mean, that's the thing is I've talked to a lot of folks, and I mean, really a lot of the sentiment has been, of course, like, oh, okay, it's coming in from the northeast. And up until I think just overnight, I mean, we didn't even have any winter-related watches in Union or Cimarron counties, which I think they're obviously well placed now, as you can see. I mean, up around text line, they're seeing that. But, we're kind of seeing this whole system here. I'm actually going to pull back up our regional satellite, and I'm going to zoom out a little bit because, Dave, talk a little bit about this low pressure system that's bringing this in because, I mean, we're really pumping a lot of Pacific moisture here and across the area.
Good point. The activity we see out there today is really just, it's so cold that what little moisture is in the air just has to freeze out. That's about all we're seeing today. We don't have a lot of energy. We don't have a lot of lift. We got a little frontal lift there probably helping out. But really the main energy that's going to cause the rising motion to get the big old thick clouds and snow going is still out here. I mean, the swirl, our upper level low is just not here yet. So we're going to see some preliminary waves, but it's going to be a 48-hour process to get that whole low through here. The closer it gets, the stronger our little disturbances get. So that's why today we're not going to see anything heavy. We'll get kind of this leading band in here late today, late afternoon into the evening. That'll be the first round, but we got to wait for this this mother low, the core of this storm, coming in tomorrow night to really get most of the snow going. So that's why we've been telling you this is a long haul. It's not just a one and done. It's going to be 3 days straight, really, of cold, and the precipitation part will be delayed, ramping up on days 2 and 3, really, tomorrow night.
Yeah,
and Sunday
and that's the
morning.
thing is we see that moisture start to kind of pull in a little bit. And like I said, the Saturday night into Sundays when that main wave comes over. And I mean, and the deal is, I mean, if anybody's been paying attention to any sort of national news, of course, the big thing has been talking about how, I mean, this is not a Texas, panhandle. It's not even just a Texas type event. I mean, when we look around the rest of the country, I mean, I've seen you talk about on your Facebook Lives, I have as well, is just the widespread coverage. I mean, right now, just looking at this, we got a winter storm warning that stretches from New Mexico all the way up past, Pennsylvania and New York right now.
Right, and just think about I-40. Think about I-20. I mean, these are major thoroughfares, so that's why much of the nation is really being affected by this. And our weekend meteorologist Tanner Brammer, he's out here in Virginia. He's got his own first alert situation because of the same storm. So, I mean, from Texas to Virginia, the same winter storm is just crazy.
Yeah, that's the crazy part is, like I said, we still get to do almost kind of team coverage on it, but, he's got folks he's got to worry about in Virginia. And then, of course, our first alert weather team here, I mean, you and myself, right. I mean, we're going to be on top of this all weekend long. I mean, that's the deal about it is, of course, we're kind of getting into the, I don't want to use the term warming up because we are not warming up for anything. But, of course, figuratively, we are getting ready because I think the worst of this is still yet to come in terms of the cold and the snow. And I mean, we're really going to have full team coverage here at News Channel 10. And so, Dave, you want to kind of walk us through what people can expect in terms of coverage-wise from us here at News Channel 10 for this weekend?
Sure, you bet. So today, what we're doing right now is just kind of laying the groundwork out for what we expect to cover over the next 3 days, and certainly what we're going to have today. So Shelden will be on at the noon show. He'll have the latest on the models and snow projections, all that. We'll check and see where the snow is or ice or anything going on right now. We'll pick back up late this afternoon, and we'll have more of a continuous stream going this afternoon into tonight as the first round starts to come in. I'll still be on the news at 4, 5, 6, and 10. But in between, we'll still have information going out to our platforms. You find us on YouTube, you got us on NewsChannel10.com, you got us on Facebook, you got us on Roku, other platforms. But we'll just have that steady stream going, just like we do when we're tracking tornadoes and severe weather. So we'll do that into tonight. We'll wake up tomorrow morning, we'll see what that first round has done. We'll have another stream going of information. We'll have our vehicles out. They'll be sending back images, see what the roads look like. So you can pick us up tomorrow morning, let's say 7 to 9 a.m. We'll see what that first round did. And then things will taper off. We'll kind of take a little break. Then late tomorrow, again, I'll be back on the news at 6 and 10. But we'll have another stream of information going late tomorrow into tomorrow night as that next big round comes. So just know that even though we'll take a break, when we get lulls in the action, but during the heart of the storm, we'll be all over it. So you can check in wherever you are. If you got our phone app, you can track us there. You got your computer at home, you can track us there. If you need information, you know where to find us.
Yeah, 100%. And so for those at home who are watching right now, maybe you don't have our First Alert weather app, here's a great easy way to do it. So if you're watching on your phone and you're wondering how to scan a QR code that's already on your phone, all you got to do is take a screenshot of it. You take a screenshot of your screen right now, and then when you go to your photos, you find this picture, the screenshot that you've taken here, and then you can go ahead and just press and hold on that QR code, and then that will take you to your respective app store. Download the First Alert weather app. I sent an alert out early this morning when we were starting to get those first signs of drizzle around the region. Of course, you're going to see updates from Dave. You're going to see, of course, we've been sending out links to all of the school closings, business closings, things like that. Of course, you're going to see those TxDOT trucks out, and of course, trying to keep those roads clear. And so, Dave, as we're kind of wrapping up right here, do you kind of have any last-minute advice or anything else you'd like to add here?
Sure, it's just a matter of staying tuned, and I imagine, Sheldon, you might have this at the noon show if people weren't ready with their phones or whatever to get that snapshot. Have it, and then I'll have it on again later on tonight. I think we've had more than 1,000 people download this just within the last day or so, but it's really, really helpful. And like I said, if you have this, wherever you are, you're going to get information. And we'll send out messages like you did this morning, Sheldon, but over the weekend you might get something like a I-40 just closed. You might get a push that says, we expect heavy snow within an hour, that kind of stuff. It's very, very helpful. So back to your point, the key, we've had 3 or 4 days to prepare for this. I don't think anybody is surprised now. I was at the grocery store yesterday. I know everybody's been to the store. So now it's just kind of a matter of, hunkering down, getting by the fire, checking on other folks, checking on your animals, make sure everybody's good. If you know somebody that has trouble with technology or whatever, just make sure they're staying abreast of the situation. And once again, we will cover it till it's out, sometime Sunday. So between now and then, just find us on your favorite way to get information, and we'll track it for you. Next up is Shelden.
Yeah, that's right, David. I just got to ask you real quick one last time, because you were saying you're way braver than I am. You went and braved the grocery stores yesterday. I mean, what was that experience like? Because every parking lot I saw was packed yesterday.
That's been the report from anybody that I've talked to. It seemed like earlier in the day is better, but by afternoon yesterday it was kind of a madhouse. I know that your staples are kind of hard. I mean, it's hard to get sometimes bread and milk's running short and stuff, but they restock pretty quickly. And remember, this isn't going to be something that shuts us down for a week. I think the main thing is, making sure you have your prescriptions, your medicine and stuff, because it will be tough to get out, I think tomorrow and Sunday. So if you got to make sure that you have your essentials ready to go. A couple more days, we'll be back out of this. We'll be back to normal.
Yeah, that's right. So, Dave, thanks for jumping on here with us real quick. Of course, like I said, Dave's going to be on all of our evening shows. You'll see myself on social media. I'm about to do the news at noon coming up here in about 20 minutes. So, everybody, of course, stay safe, stay warm out there. So we're going to ride out this storm together, so make sure to just watch, follow, track with us here at News Channel 10. We're going to be keeping you up to date with this whole event. Thanks for tuning in for this live stream. Like I said, we'll be back, of course, with any other information that you need. Dave basically said it all. Just anywhere you can get News Channel 10, that's where we're going to be. So y'all stay safe, stay warm out there, and, of course, just enjoy this wintry weather we've got on tap for the region.